Hello everyone. For this video, we'll have laboratory activity for measurements. Our objectives for this video is to acquire skills in using measuring devices for length and determine the difference between accuracy and precision. The materials that we are going to use for this activity, we have rectangular block, a 25 centavo coin, a PVC card. We have a vernier caliper. In this case, we have a digital vernier caliper. We have a ruler or a foot rule. And we are going to use a meter stick. For our procedure, procedure letter A, we're going to determine the volume of a rectangular block. We measure the length, width, and thickness of the rectangular block using a meter stick. Calculate the volume of the block by multiplying the length, the width, and the thickness using the rules of significant figures for multiplication. Repeat steps 1 and 2 using a ruler and a vernier caliper. Then tabulate the results. Procedure letter B. Measuring the volume and surface area of a coin. Measure the diameter and the thickness of the coin using a ruler. Calculate the volume and the surface area of the coin using the rules of significant figures for multiplication. The surface area is equal to 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r t. To get the volume of the cylinder, it is equal to pi r squared t, where r is the radius of the cylinder. Then repeat steps 1 and 2 using a vernier caliper, then tabulate the results. For procedure letter C, the perimeter and thickness of a PVC card. Measure the length and width of a PVC card using a ruler. Then repeat the procedure using the vernier caliper. Calculate the perimeter of the card by adding twice the length and twice the width using the rules of significant figures for multiplication. Let's take note that to calculate the perimeter of a PVC, you need to multiply the length by 2 and the width by 2, then add the product of it. Here is the data table that you need to complete. This is the data table for volume of a rectangular block. This is the data table for volume and surface area of a coin. And this is the data table for the perimeter and thickness of a PVC card. Let us take note to observe the correct number of significant figures in your calculations. Let us now measure the volume of a rectangular block. Let's take note that I am using a ruler with a calibration in millimeters. So you need to convert the readings into centimeters. Now, we are going to use the digital vernier caliper. Before we measure, we need to turn on first the vernier caliper. There are two jaws that we are going to look into. So here, it is calibrated in millimeters. So we need again to convert into centimeters. We are going to use the bigger jaw or the lower jaw to measure the length of the rectangular block. Now we are going to use the meter stick. The meter stick is calibrated in centimeters. We are now done measuring the volume of a rectangular block. Let's proceed now to the next procedure. We're going to measure now the volume and surface area of a coin. Again, I am using a ruler that is calibrated in millimeters. So you need to convert it into centimeters. Now we are going to measure the coin using the vernier caliper. We are done with the volume and surface area of a coin. Let's move on to the perimeter and thickness of a PVC card. Now we're going to measure using the vernier caliper. Again, let us take note that the measurements in this experiment is calibrated in millimeters. So you need to convert it into millimeters. Sorry, in centimeters. Now that we are done measuring the lengths of our different materials, we need to tabulate now all our data in our data table. We are now ready to answer our guide questions. Question number 1. What probably caused the percentage difference between the two methods of measuring the volume of the objects? Number 2. Of the two measuring devices used in the experiment, which gives the more accurate result? Why? And number 3. Why must the edge of the meter stick rather than the broader side be adjacent to the dimension being measured? And for our generalization, why is it important to have an accurate and precise instruments in measurements? As an end activity, I want you to draw on a sheet of paper the proper way of reading the measurement using a measuring instrument or device such as a ruler or a meter stick. And that's it for the laboratory activity for measurement. Thank you for listening and watching. See you again on the next laboratory activity.